Lovely to see you today. And isn't the weather freaking gorgeous? If you're in the UK, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The sun's shining. It was shining yesterday. It's still shining today. And oh my God, I'm actually getting a tan in the UK. This is kind of big news. So I hope wherever you are that you've had a great weekend, you're still enjoying your weekend, and yeah, you've had some fun times in the sun and didn't get burnt. Anyway, back on track. So I want to talk about purpose. Okay, so purpose means something different to everybody, and you know, we can be a little bit like, I don't know, maybe dismissive sometimes of like when people go on, oh, you know, you have to find your purpose in life. Once you find your purpose, everything will unfold and it'll all be wonderful and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And you can get a little bit like, really though? Meh. But I'm discovering more and more I kind of like my science, so I love ideas and new ways of thinking, as long as they're also then I'll love them even more once they're actually supported then by some evidence, or at least something kind of tangible that I can grab hold of in my head and kind of think, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm all with it now. This purpose stuff, yeah. I am hands down like, yeah, all in, totally get it, totally understand why it's so important for everybody. Now, the thing with purpose is like, we all kind of, well, for one, we kind of think about it differently, but also it means something different to each and every one of us because we're all individual, clearly. So like for some people, you know, so if you think about it, I'd say probably, I can't remember who said this now, but it was kind of like, you know, there are different types of people, and sometimes those people have like really small circles around them. So it might just that they have like literally only like one or two people that they're interested in being around in their world. You know, they have no real desire to extend beyond that. So their purpose might be more about protecting and providing for that small circle, for example. And then you've kind of got other people who extend into a larger group, and then you've kind of got people that extend into societies, and then you kind of got people who want to make like global domination impact kind of stuff, and their circle extends, you know, a long way. So their purpose and their drive is like, it's different, clearly. You know, the person here with the small circle and the person with the massive circle, then, you know, it's a different kind of purpose. So there's nothing like, it's not bigger or better or more amazing or yeah, better to have like a purpose that extends, you know, far reaching. I mean, it's very admirable. It's very you know, inspirational and stuff like that. Just adjust myself here. But you know, the important thing is how it feels to you. So if you're trying to be, let's say, oh, I could make this sound a bit wrong now, but I'll go with it. If you are a small circle kind of person, try like innately a small circle kind of person. That's your comfort. That's your happy comfort. Oh God, this is what happens to me every time I start talking. I have a mini argument with myself about when I say something, because I'm like, oh, I could definitely counter argue that. Hence why I nearly went into law. But anyway. Try not to have those arguments with myself while I'm discussing these things with you. But yeah, some people will try to kind of do something, that's a better way of saying it, trying to do something that doesn't fit with what supports them and what keeps them healthy and happy. So yeah, we always want to be pushing, progressing, but there are different ways of doing it for different people. So back onto purpose. So yeah, some people are content and happy living what some people might describe as a simpler life. You know, what is simple, what is normal, what is better, what is, you know, all that kind of thing. It's just relative. You can use that with anything, really. It's relative to the situation and the person, and so many other factors. But yeah, it's finding what's good for you that is really important. But the glue within this is that there's still purpose. So although that purpose is different for everybody, we all still have it, or should have it. Now, what happens when we don't have purpose? A lot of really shitty stuff, like genuinely. So I was at a conference seminar thing in Spain. I don't know, like a month ago. I lose track of time now. It might have been less than that. Whatever, reasonably recently. And I met with an absolutely amazing, fascinating genius of a human called Professor Alberto Garoli, and I was just blown away with some of the research and some of the stuff that he was saying, and it was just like, wow, so many missing links. When you kind of like know something or learn about something, and then you kind of you have that counter argument all the time, or something that just doesn't quite fit or doesn't work for everybody. You can't kind of unify it. Anyway, a lot of what he was saying was just like literally the glue, and I was just like, wow. So one of my proper wow moments was when he started talking about what he described as the evolutionary kill switch. Now, in the title already, I'm like, the kill switch? But we've just said that, as organisms, as living beings, that we are programmed to survive. That's what we do. Now, yes, that's true, but there's times where if our mind, for example, well, I say for example, if our mind, if our mind doesn't have connection to purpose, our body loses connection to purpose, because they're two separate things. And that's a kind of another story-ish. When you lose connection to purpose, especially your body losing connection to purpose, your body and your mind, then you start to lose the drive to survive. True story. So what happens is you get there's like Professor Garoli said, and I want to dig deeper into this, but there's basically chemical signaling that goes on in your brain, and your brain controls all function, all systemic function of your body. So depending on what's going on up here, and there are autonomic and non. Sorry, I'm just having another one of those conversations with myself. But yeah, when it starts sending signals, like we're just like, not bothered, like don't care, whatever, have no interest in anything, have no desire to do something, have no reason to get up in the morning, have no purpose, then there are like changes, chemical changes in your brain, which control signaling patterns, which control hormone release, and which basically also then change the way your cells function, so that you change the way your cells do their jobs, and you also change what systems are activated and deactivated, well, on a sliding kind of scale. So yeah, if you have purpose, everything's like alive, it's switched on, it's working, it's functioning, you're kind of like you're on fire. When you don't have purpose, it doesn't matter who you are, if you have no reason to be and exist, no reason to get up in the morning, nothing to drive you forward, nothing to encourage you to survive, then stuff starts to kind of slow down and shut down. You start to get problems with metabolism. You start to get problems with, you know, especially in the mind. So especially things like depression, sadness, negativity, you know, all those kind of things that kind of drag you into this kind of dark, not active, not progressive, not repairing and growing and surviving state, into something that's basically just sort of like there. It's existing, but slowly it's also dying. There are things that kind of get turned on in your brain, so those chemical signalings that happen that then kind of send messages and communicate with cells that in the simplest form possible to kind of say, you don't really need to be here. It's cool, it's fine, you can like die, let's go. So basically you kind of create this environment where things like mutate, you create a state where mutation in cells can occur, and obviously mutated cells, that's like cancer, tumours, unhealthy growths within your body, and you create more inflammation, and you just create kind of problems, really, slowing of the metabolism, and just things shutting down and not really functioning as they should. Lethargy, like we've already said, you know, the depression, the dark place that kind of pulls you down into like, not asked. And probably you'll find yourself in the pub quite a lot. Or even worse, drinking yourself into a stupor at home. I hope nobody's in that position right now. That would not be a good place to be. Anyway, so purpose. When you are in a place of purpose, you're on fire. Now, fire, that kind of like brings me to this thought of like elements. Okay, so you've got I'm doing it again. So you've got earth, wind, fire, water. Those are like the key kind of elements of life, really. Now, let's go metaphorically with this stuff rather than kind of talk in a spiritual sense, because that's, again, a different kind of story and theorem. But yeah, metaphorically. So you've got some people who are kind of cool with like just being smaller circle and just kind of ticking along, and they're happy with that. It's because their purpose has been they've kind of achieved it just on a scale that is more intrinsic and smaller, encompassing a smaller space, let's say. Then you've got other people who need to branch out, and like the flames need to expand into bigger and greater areas. Now, fire. So if you are that kind of person, then your purpose is like, it is massive to you. So you need to be driven and to be pushing towards this all the time. If you're not, you're literally causing yourself damage. Like literally causing yourself damage and like physical and mental pain, because you're not living in the way that you've been created and that you're literally like built to live. If you think about like way back, you had settlers and you had nomads. So I mean, that's a simple divide that you can kind of do straight away to kind of just help that sink in a little bit. You've got people who are out there striving, creating, inventing, designing, forging forward, exploring, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got other people who are more like, they like to build on one area, let's say, or within a smaller space. Anyway, but earth, wind, fire, water, earth, wind, fire, wind, not wind, air. I knew something sounded wrong. Anyway, so those people, like, for example, if you are fire and you're being suffocated, you create sickness within yourself. If you don't let fire breathe, then it's not doing what it's born to be doing, and so it suffocates and ultimately it dies. Yes, but purpose, having a purpose is super important, discovering it. Now, there are certain, environment is so important, but it's the environment in your own mind and the place around you. So, for example, if you are somebody who needs to be, who is, and we all remember, innately driven by purpose, a need and a desire to survive and grow and stuff like that. If you are repressing that in any whatever which way, then something is going to be impacted, and that something is going to be your health, whether it's mental or physical. You know, your health is going to suffer. So we want to make sure that we are in line with our purpose, and it just gives you so much more. It gives you energy, it gives you drive, it brings you happiness and fulfillment. And a lot of the time people think about success as something like things that you have to obtain. Having a purpose is bigger than that. So when you are thinking about your why, because this is kind of how you might start to like think about how you find your purpose, because some people are like, well, I'm doing all of these things, I've like achieved this and I've like got that and stuff like that, but you know, I'm still freaking miserable, or I'm still not as happy as I want to be, or something is just not right, you know. Then it just says to me, and it says to your purpose, that something's not missing. You know, you're not in alignment, you're not moving in the way that you're designed to be moving. Something is missing from the package. So once you find what's missing from the package, and this, you know, yeah, we could say they're things, but you want to like break down the things and find out what it is that drives your need and your desire for those things. And that's where you'll find your true whys, and that's where you'll find your true values and purpose. And once you kind of got those, you can hone in on them, you can focus on them, you can like see, visualize, you can set goals around them, and you can work progressively towards achieving those goals. And like I said, environment is so important. I've spoken about environment quite a lot, and I will continue to do so because it's just like massive. But yes, purpose is just, it's scary. It really is scary. You know, this is so key to your own survival and benefit and success in life. It's like, do you really just want to like float through life kind of being unfulfilled and not happy, and you know, all of those things? It's just such a waste. It's such a waste of life. But when you're living for purpose, your purpose, not fuck everyone else. Don't worry about them. You know, as long as you're being not being inhumane and not being immoral and all that kind of stuff, then, you know, do what you want to do what drives you, you know, do what is good for you. And when you start to align with that, the simplest, like, take out all the fluff and all the bullshit, you know, when you start to line up with that, all the other things start coming to you. They become in alignment with you. So what actually happens is, like, the way you see the world changes, your perspective changes, and you become more in tune and susceptible sure that's right, to the things that you're trying to obtain and achieve, and they all just like come to you, and it all just starts to work because you're driven to make something happen. And when you're driven to make the right thing happen, then you achieve more and more and more health, wealth, success, happiness, all of that thing, and life starts to really have true value, and you know, not just to yourself, but for the people that you do interact with, whether that's small groups, large groups, whatever. So yes, no matter who you are, what kind of like life that you've chosen to live, find out what it is that drives you. What is your purpose? Find that, and you start to think better, feel better. Life just gets better. It's happened to me. It's happened to me recently. I know I've already been talking for a while, but I think I'll just go into this briefly. But uh, many times, I don't know, a handful of times, I've had depressive spells, and when I think back as to what has created those, where they've like come from, it's been a thing. It's been where like my purpose, my kind of the reason that I want to do things, like my fire, was suffocated, and it wasn't in alignment. It just felt like the future just meant say nothing, but that was a mind state, it's like, and it was reconnecting with what my purpose and what my true goals and desires and values are, and all that kind of thing. Once that happened, once I aligned myself with my purpose, it was like, it was such a flick of a switch ish over the course of a couple of months. But my body had to kind of catch up with my brain, really, after some things had gone a bit wrong. But yeah, once that had happened, and once I aligned myself with purpose, everything just feels so much better. But not just feels better, I'm doing so much better. I'm doing all the things that I want to be doing. I've started up 2 new businesses. They're like big scale as well. It's exciting. I'm excited to get up every morning. I work really long days, and I put my everything and all into what I'm doing, but I love it. I don't feel like that's some repressive thing or anything like that. It is everything that I want in life, or it is the steps that I'm taking towards everything that I want in life. And it is an amazing feeling. So because I know that it's an amazing feeling, I really want everybody out there to like know this amazing feeling for themselves and do what's right for them to achieve your dreams, achieve what's right for you and live a happier, healthier life with less stress and more success. Okay, guys, back to the sunshine with you. Have a great evening wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Mwah! Bye bye.